So welcome to this live Q&A. Today, we will be talking about efficient and sustainable blending and how to blend faster, more efficient, more aligned with today's requirements in this scrolling day and age when everybody wants answers in about 3 or 5 seconds. And Dropsmart was created for that. So I'm going to start sharing my screen and go right into it. It's going to be a fun day today. So here we are. I always start here in my catalog. Last time we ended at showing favorites. So last time I showed you how to use the search. A little bit just getting to start with that, and then how I really gave you homework to go and create your collection, because that's where you really start really start doing things more according to what you have, more personalized blends, more personalized experience of Dropsmart when you're doing it with the collection that actually you have. And this is, in my perspective, the best way to also be mindful of the environment, because you're using the resources that you have. You don't have to overdo it, not just save money, but save the environment. So the first most typical ways people go around blending, I will show you 3 different ways that I find my students like to go about blending and that I find different aromatherapists. And the most typical one I see when people are starting out is that they just go through books or whatever their resource is, and they look for oils that are for that particular problem they're trying to solve. So for example, respiratory conditions. So I'm going to write in the search respiratory. And just like you would go to the back of the index of a book and look for respiratory conditions, and then look through all your essential oils that are like that, or maybe you're doing it online, whatever is your method. Here it's, as you see, I think I timed it. It was like 5 times at least faster, or 12. I'm not sure. It's a lot. See, I wrote respiratory, and then you have almost 500 oils here to work with that are connected to respiratory system. But in my experience and working with students, they would just choose a bunch of oils that are for respiratory system in this case, or sleep, or acne, whatever it is that you're working on. And then thinking, the more the merrier, like the more oils I put in there, it has to be more efficient. What I love about Dropsmart, and what I always was teaching even before I created it, is that I can see from these colors how similar or different they are. And now, of course, we are talking about groups here, and they might have different chemical constituents, but just right off the bat, I can see that the ones that are similar, the ones that repeat. So do you really need to be using oils that are the same? Like here we have all of these orange, so all of these monoterpenes. Do I really want to be blending ply and cero when they're sharing so many of the same constituents? But this is how people get started. So the most typical way to do it is to look for oils that are for whatever your problem is, like respiratory conditions, and then you choose a few oils. How you create a blend in Dropsmart is here. On each of these oils, you have this little blend tool. So it's the one in the middle. Last time I also introduced you to comparison tool, and I will come back to that. So just to show you how to blend, I'm going to click these 3 because they're just at the top. I will not go into formulating at this moment. And I chose these 3 oils, and they are in the blend tool. I'll give it a name, for example, respiratory, if I would spell it right. And then you would add a description. I really wanted to have this part. And this is where you add a description to whatever it is that you need to come back to. Maybe you want a date here. Maybe you want to write who is it for. I actually write who is it for in the title. Why you chose these. So some notes that are going to remind you of why you chose this. So it can be whatever it is that's going to help you remember why you chose this and why you might want to change it. So the next live we're going to have, I'm going to show you how to do templates and how to use the blends that you save to save you time to be more professional when you're talking to clients. So that's the next step. The first is to create the blend. And here you're going to have a description, cold, for example. You choose the unit. So a lot of people use drops, but you can go very specific. You can go into percentages, whatever it is that you want. I'm going to keep drops because most people like to use drops. You can keep it private or public. I like to keep mine private until I am really sure that this is something that everybody else could be useful for. My absolute favorite feature here is that it's dynamic. And once you get more familiar with how these groups, what they actually tell you, it will be really helpful for you to watch this as well. So one of the things you can also see in other videos I provide with Dropsmart is how you can recognize notes of essential oils by these colors. So these monoterpenes tell me that I have a lot, like 50% already in this blend. If I do 1:1:1 ratio, I'm going to have a lot of high notes. And I have mostly, these are middle notes and then a little bit of lower notes. So I want to maybe already here fix that. So that's what I really love about this, that I can see already and see, I want a little bit less of these, a little bit more of this, and then I get the ratio visually. You can do it with percentages or whatever. So here I chose this ratio, for example, and you just save your blends. Your blends will be saved in your dashboard. So all about that next time. What is really nice is that you can go to the bottom of your blend. So you can either just click on all of these oils. Ooh, this is a very useful one. And then you see exactly each oil. So you can already have some ideas or compare them and look at each oil from here. They're linked. But once you create your blend, you're going to have an overview like this. So you're going to have all the oils you chose and at which ratio. In this case, we have drops. Okay, so we have 4 drops, 5 drops of rosemary, and 1 drop of frankincense. It calculates everything for you. So this is the part that no book, no course or whatever can't really do for you, and why I wanted so much to create an app to do this for me. It's because I wanted everything calculated. It doesn't have to be that precise, but it can, and I want it to be that precise if possible. So although this was for respiratory conditions, and I didn't really specify which one, it tells me everything else that it's useful for. And this is the efficiency part, and this is the sustainability part that I like to talk about. Because oftentimes, especially at the beginning, we create a blend that is just too much. We don't use it at a quantity that we created often. It can happen. And then you get to see here, what else can you use it for? So yes, it's antibacterial, so it's great if we have a bacterial infection for the respiratory system. And you click on it and you see exactly why and which bacteria. And why is it 100%? It's because all 3 oils in this blend have research that it has it's efficient on bacteria. And here when it says 50% anti-inflammatory, it's because we found research on rosemary and yes, on rosemary. And that's why it's a lower percentage. antiviral, also rosemary. So you can see which oils bring what to your blend and at which percentage. And the percentage is calculated because of the ratio. So this is something that manually you can do it, but good luck, like really good luck. This saves you, I don't even know how to put it into percentages, like 95% of your time. So you can speak to your audience, your clients, your students, or superiors, whoever you need to explain your blend at this level of professionalism. And that's what I wanted. I was teaching a lot of pharmacists and in the medical community, and I just felt much more confident, credible, powerful up there, being able to answer their questions, knowing that I have all of this data backing me up and explaining it to them at any moment. So as an aromatherapist, what I want to do with you with Dropsmart is give you all of this information at your fingertips when you need it. I have another colleague who is a medical doctor, but he always has Dropsmart open beside his Zoom conferences and in meetings, because he can just look up this stuff. He knows it. He just doesn't maybe know which exact study it is. And this is something you can do as well. So you can check here that we chose this very well. It's recommended for many respiratory conditions, all 3 of these oils. And then you can see a little bit more info. So this is the same overview as you would see with a single essential oil, but adding it up. So what Dropsmart does for you, and I don't know if you use it enough, and I would really love to encourage you to do so, is that it calculates all of the data for you that is there in the database so that you are more empowered, so that you have solid proof that this blend will work for whatever it is that you're creating, maybe your product or recommending, so that you don't need to spend your time searching for this information, and you will never be able to have it at this quantity that Dropsmart can just pull up for you. If you want, you can go here into more detail. It gets fun, but I'm going to go one step at a time. So this is the most typical way to go about blending. In my opinion, this is not the most professional. This is what pretty much anybody can do. You don't need to be an aromatherapist to look up oils that are for respiratory system and just click on the first 3. What I would love for you to go a step ahead of everybody else, really show yourself as a professional. So there are 2 different more advanced techniques I want to share with you today. And here is a pro tip for you that I wrote to remind me to tell you. So what I would do if I go and search for respiratory system here, conditions, sorry, not to just one step in between to bring you to that extra level of expertise and professionalism is to compare them. So you can go to your students or clients and say, look, all of these oils are recommended by different professionals, studies, all sorts of stuff for respiratory system. But let's check out which ones are best for us. Or even better, do it with your favorite oils. So this is my collection. And out of the, 50 oils that I have, 21. Now I really narrowed it down. So these are the 21 that we have in the classroom or that I have available now that are all great for respiratory system. And let's see what's the difference. Which one will work for you best? So let's compare just the top. This ginger grass is very similar to Parma Rosa. So I'm going to change. Myrtle is one of my favorite oils for a respiratory system. And that's going to take you definitely. It's one little step, one little click in Dropsmart, but it will show a different layer to your students and clients. If you're selling essential oils, this is going to make them feel more confident that it's best oil for them. If this is a client you're working one-on-one, this is going to help your client understand and have a more personalized experience. We are now out of this whole forest of oils. We narrowed it down to 4 and then choosing the best one for them. So then you can see, look, these are very different in chemistry, which brings different stuff. And you can talk about that if you want, but you can keep it very simple and see here, we can compare the scientific properties for the ones that we're looking for. Then you can see which ones, this one also has anti-stress. So maybe that could be cool for you because you tend to get respiratory conditions when you're under stress. So ylang ylang might be better for you than, or it's an viral infection. So myrtle might be something that's for you because we know that your particular respiratory issue is a viral infection. So out of these 4, myrtle would be the one for you. Or you can go further and see, we want to work on your respiratory system, but if you're going to use this blend in the evening, then ylang ylang might be a good one because it will also work as a sedative and will help you fall asleep. And you can already get a feeling how this is so much more personalized, whether it's that you're selling oils or you're making a blend or you're teaching your students how to formulate, you're having much more depth how you're choosing oils. And then you can go into other benefits as well using the same principles. So for whatever reason they're working on, or if it's on skin and they have dry skin, you can say, oh, we're going to use this, but we're also going to use myrtle and ylang ylang because they are going to be more appropriate for your skin. Definitely come back, scroll down to the safety. This is a long list. So that might be the turning point. Ylang ylang is great, but you know what? I have a little kid that I breastfeed. So if I rub it on my chest, it might not be good because, it's not really for children under 2 years of age. So then ylang ylang is not the oil for me. It's going to go in, it's too close to their nose, for example. Or, you see, this one is low risk. Well, these seem okay, but you can have the entire overview. So I suggest that when you are doing this in front of an audience or you have a client, whatever, do this one extra step in between, and you're going to have so much more influence, so much more credibility. Why ylang ylang is better for your client, student, whatever, than myrtle. Yes, they're both for respiratory conditions, but ylang ylang is going to help me with stress better. It's going to help me sleep better. And myrtle is going to be better if it's a viral infection. So it's super simple. All you have to do is click and it's right there for you. So the two other ways I wanted to show you how to do this very quickly to go about formulating. I will go back to catalog. And of course, I encourage you, I hope that you already have your collection, your favorite essential oils, so that you always work with the ones that you have. I'm going to delete this comparison. I personally always compare the oils I'm considering and then narrow it down to the ones I feel are the best for my client, family, whoever it is that I'm blending for. So the first more upgraded approach to blending would be diverse chemistry and getting really specific. So if I'm going to do something like, let's say, sedation, we came across it. So this is a really good one. The more you can get specific on what you want to work on, not sleep, because if I write sleep, it's going to give me more oils probably. That is a little more, but I want to work on sedation. oh, let's keep sleep now that it's here, but get super specific. And then if I have sleep here, if I put lavender and petite grain, am I really doing something? No, look, they're very similar. And I know the chemistry behind it, so I can tell you that these red and purple ones are mainly the same chemical constituents. So Dropsmart is going to help you see that right away, even if you don't know it all by heart like I do. Not a lot, but you're going to see, lavender and petite grain doesn't really make sense to mix, but lavender and ylang ylang does. I will have more diversity of chemical constituents in there working on the same thing. So here, I do agree that the more the merrier, not up to a certain point, but these ones are going to have sedative effect, but from different constituents working on different mechanisms in the body. And I like that because some of them are also going to start working before, and when they are going to stop working, other ones are going to, start sedating. So it will be a longer effect as well. Whereas here, because we have the same constituents, also looking at it from ecological and sustainability, you really want to you want to be mindful of that. So I would use, let me just look up more oils here. I would suggest that you use a more diverse spectrum of chemical constituents working on the same thing. Now, you don't need to use 5 oils, because see, if you blend ylang ylang and lavender just from the color point of view, you already have a lot here, so it's enough. I like to use up to 3 oils. But if I use ylang ylang, lavender, and vetiver, I have a very large, diverse chemistry working on the same thing. So that's the first more advanced way to look at things and blending. The opposite of that is when you want to be very singular. So if you're going to go into more like pharmaceutical way, the more singular you are in chemistry, the more control you have. So in that way, I would use something like sweet orange, because most of this orange is limonene. So then it's very easy to follow up, is it working or not? When you have a diverse blend, so if I'm going to use ylang ylang, lavender, and vetiver for my client, and it's not really working for them as powerfully as I wanted to, it's going to take a bit more guessing which one I need to change. Whereas if I use just sweet orange, I know, okay, this is not working for you. I'm just going to try petite grain or something else. So diversity of chemical constituents versus singularity. Singularity is always going to give you more control, and this is going to give you more chemical constituents working at a different time, which is going to prolong the efficiency of it, which is going to kind of back you up. If this one is not working on your client, then this one is, and it's a beautiful synergy. And last tip for today is, if you are not comfortable with looking at it from a diversity of chemical constituents, maybe look at it from a diversity or more variety on all the symptoms. So if you have acne, for example, let's work on acne. You can have oils for acne that we know, we have even researched that it works. So all of these work and are recommended for acne. I'm going to stick with my myrtle today. So let's put it in the blend. But also, when you have acne, you usually have oily skin. So if your client has oily skin, let's find another oil that's going to cover that. So oily skin. And for that, I'm going to use Palmarosa because it's been popping at me all day. Wants to be in my blend. And then another thing for acne, I want it to be to heal the skin. Do we have oils that are skin healing? So let's look at that. And I do know, because I've taught this before, that geranium actually has research on healing the skin. So I'm going to put that one in the blend. And lastly, maybe I want one more oil for really great for inflammation, because when you have acne, you have inflammation and you want to work on that. So anti-inflammatory. Okay. And then you choose whichever one you like. You can also see that some of these repeat, so myrtle will do the same, geranium, but just for fun, let's have yuzu. And then I can write here acne, and I can write why I chose. So I chose for acne, I chose for inflammation, I chose for skin healing, and oily skin, to remind myself why. And then if you don't know which oils for which, you can write that as well. I'm just going to keep it at this ratio to be more focused on what I'm showing you. Another great feature is you can go back to these blends, you can fix it. You can fix your ratio, you can delete oil, add another one. So that is all possible. I will show you that in the next live. And of course, you have all of that somewhere in our Dropsmart Center, where you can look it up as well with all of my videos. So here you will see that this is an interesting blend. See, all of these oils are for oily skin and for skincare in general. 75 are for acne. I'm interested which one isn't. Yuzu, because it doesn't have as much research, but yuzu is for other clogged skin. That also happens. So it's actually, I'm really happy with this blend. Let me just take a look. And oils are quite diverse. So in this approach, I kept in mind both, that I wanted diverse chemistry, and I actually cover all three notes as well. And I covered 4 problematic symptoms for my client. That's what I wanted to show you today. Next time, we are going to dive into how you actually use these blends that you saved for templates, as well as, to show your clients, to show your students, so you have less preparation. So what we want to do with Dropsmart is also streamline your work, make it more productive, so that you don't have to repeat yourself, so that you have all of these things prepared for your presentations, for example, or for your clients. And it makes your life easier, your work faster, like 5, 10, 50% faster, depending how good you get with Dropsmart. The more you use it, the better you will get at it. And at the same time, you are not compromising quality. You're actually providing more quality for your clients, more professionalism, more evidence, reasoning. They're feeling confident because you can guide them through every step of the way why this blend is actually more personalized. Why is it exactly the best one for them? Yeah, I hope you enjoy that. I would love to know if this stuff is helpful. How is it helpful? So is it because you didn't know, or because you're going to use it better now? I would like to know, so that I can prepare these little Q&As for you better, or even send you, of course, on the mailing list, information that's going to be better for you faster. Yes, Dropsmart is super fast if you know how to use it. I mean, I really don't lie when I say to people that I do things now in like 15, 30 minutes, things that I needed to do for not hours, but days. But it's because I know how to use it. I mean, I created it. You can use it the same way. I'd love to show you. The whole point is that the aromatherapist do aromatherapy. I mean, we all wanted to do it for that reason, but I found myself in the past spending way too much time preparing and fixing things especially essential oil profiles for my students. I would fix them on a monthly basis because there was new info I wanted to share with them, and to stop that madness and focus on what's important, and that's helping people, that's teaching them. Yes, comparison tool is my favorite as well. I feel it might be underrated. Everybody wants to blend, but to create a powerful, meaningful blend, you need to choose your oils wisely, because with the information being so available, what is the difference between you? I mean, I'm not saying you personally, but anybody calling themselves an aromatherapist and somebody with a lot of books or resources. So the thing that we bring to the table as an aromatherapist, as a professional, are these details that they're not looking at. Anybody can look up, 15 oils that are for a cold or acne, but how do you choose the one that's the best? No, it can be the smell, of course. But then again, anybody can choose by smell. So this is what I wanted to help my colleagues with, is to bring out the professionalism, because it's available. People sometimes say, I don't need to be so specific as I am. You don't, but how do you differentiate yourself then? How do you know that you're bringing the best service to your client? Those are the questions I always ask myself. The more you use Dropsmart, the more you will benefit from it, because it takes a little practice, just like anything, to know where to go, to save your oils, to have these little hacks. I'm especially happy to show you next time how you can save your own blends and comparisons, and make it personalized, make it your own, make it for your needs, your clients, students. And then it just makes it so much faster, isn't it? Like whatever it is that we can automate, just leaves more space for the things that we love doing. Anybody else? I'm a very visual person, and being able to see the comparison makes it easy. Me too. I need to see it. That's how it started. I needed to draw it for me to understand the chemistry. I really didn't get it until then. And I thought, a lot of us who are attracted to essential oils is because we have their artistic side to us, and we need to be able to see it. And it made a difference for me. So I'm really happy to hear it makes a difference for you too. Yes, I left those 3 different ways to see the distributions, because I know that some people appreciate that. So great to hear that you appreciate it. Thank you so much. If there are no more questions or comments, I'm going to say thank you. Thank you, everybody. Have a beautiful day ahead.